Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home, tell me where you been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this.
Hello everyone, my name is Angela Briante. I'm the broker and owner of Briante Realty Group. Welcome to the show, Talking Real Estate with Angela. I have a very special guest today, Dr. Tantillo. Welcome to the show.
I'm just so happy to be here. I have so many great memories of Carmel. We go back,
Sure.
And we've had wonderful dinners and lunches together. We talk about our children, and today we're going to talk about branding,
Sure.
something I know a little bit about.
You certainly do. Look what I brought.
Oh my God. OMG. Did I know that?
Yes.
People buy brands, not companies. And you want to know how I came up with the title of that book?
I do.
Okay, so I'm going to name drop.
Okay, sure.
So I'm at Fox News, and I bump into the ever wonderful Tracy Burns from the Fox Business Network. And it was around the time of the GM collapse. And she says to me, "So Doc," with her chewing, she used to do chewing gum, and she said to me, "So Doc, is GM going down?" And I said, "No, Tracy. You know why? Because people buy brands, not companies. Investors buy companies. People or consumers buy brands like Chevys, like their Chevy trucks, their Caddies." And I said, that's a great idea for a book. And that's where we get the book, People Buy Brands, Not Companies. Sure. And what the book really does, and this is a great lesson for all of our viewers and listeners today, is that branding is the new messaging. In other words, it's good to have a message, but it's even better to have a brand. And a brand is what comes to mind when I mention Angela's name. So, real estate person, friendly person, somebody I want to do business with. And what we do as personality brands is convey through benefits what we can do for our customers. And that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about today, especially in the real estate business.
Sure. And some of the viewers out there are probably saying, well, how is branding associated with real estate? And it certainly is. And one example that you and I actually worked on in the past was Dr. Santoro's property, which was I think it was a 16-bedroom, gosh, it was an amazing home, but it really, really felt like a live-work property. So it would have been perfect for a professional to reside there as well as conduct their business out of there. So you had come up to the beautiful Putnam County, and we had an event there. And the event we had invited this is with your recommendation, all business professionals to come in to, we had like an event. I mean, it was a very small room. I shouldn't say small room. It was a very intimate event. We had about 15, 20 people there, all very prominent business people from the community, to share with them the property. And then also, I believe you had this book or another book, and we spoke about branding, and it was a very, very educational, but yet we got them into the property.
Right.
And the property was being branded as just that, live work. So it actually was it was a great event. And that was all branding, 100% to position it to the market.
Absolutely. And what the advantage is, this is kind of a plug not only for you, but for all real estate people, is that a real estate person, if you're going to sell your property, is a person that's going to help you to do what you did with that property, create an event, bring what they call a stage person, somebody that's going to make the property sing and
Right.
sell even more quickly, that we as sellers might not know about, but you as the professional know the ins and outs and what's going to help you to move the property. That, you know, we sometimes feel, well, why do I want to spend that kind of money or give that to a real estate agent? Because she or he is going to help you to sell the property, and at one point, if you begin to panic, get the right price for the house.
True. We did, it's funny, we had a historic home that we were marketing to sell, and we all dressed up in colonial attire.
I love it.
Matter of fact, this week in Putnam Press, we have a full back page ad with me
Right.
in the attire. And we had food from the era. We invited all of the local historians. We did a very targeted mailing because that home could have been sold either way. It could
Right.
have been somebody could have purchased it, gutted it, but supposedly George Washington had slept there. We had documentation, and we wanted to leverage, that because that was the brand of that home. It was a historic gem.
I couldn't have done it better. I mean, that's really what I would call creative marketing or creative branding. That's what you want to do. And with all due respect, we are sometimes too close to our homes that we want to sell. And you need an objective third party to come in and
Look at all
look at all.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Right. Cannot pigeonhole that to one market segment for a buyer.
That is correct.
So there's another interesting thing, if you wouldn't mind speaking about. You had coined the O'Reilly factor. Is that correct? So,
Well, yeah, because Bill and I used to hang out with a posse that. I had met Bill at one of the clubs at one point in the early '80s. I was a man about town. I used to give Esquire magazine the ideas of what to write about. Only kidding. But I used to go out quite a bit, and I met Bill at an event when he was at PM Magazine, which was a local WCBS property. And we just hit it off, and we became close friends. And Bill was, if you think I'm a bigger than life personality, he is a bigger than life personality on steroids. And what he would do is get us to do things that perhaps we weren't comfortable with. And I framed that as, or described it better yet, as the O'Reilly factor, something that he wanted to do that maybe we didn't want to do.
Right.
And if you like to take a look at a Rolling Stone magazine column that references this, you could go through John Tantillo, Bill O'Reilly, Rolling Stone, and it will come up. So I'm just not making it up. And what's so funny was a few years ago, a dear friend of mine said, well, I won't mention the person's name, but he said, well, I came up with the name the O'Reilly factor. And then I had to proceed to get the reference and send it to him, so to make sure he knew who
the
was
origination.
the origination of that.
Good.
But sure. But that's interesting because what Bill did is he took a friend's concept and made it part of a part of his brand, incorporated that with his TV show, because his original show was called The O'Reilly Report. A little too dry.
Yes, yes. much
Okay,
better,
so
the
when he
factor,
first
yeah.
went over to Fox, they named it, and he changed it to the O'Reilly Factor. So I'm
Makes
pretty.
sense.
I was pretty proud of that.
That is, yes. And you are with Newsmax right now?
Yes,
You
right
are-
now I have a column at Newsmax I write. It's called The Marketing and Branding Lens. And what we do there is we take a look at the topics of the day and use the marketing and branding lens to decipher what's in fact going on. And an example of that is Kaepernick's and Nike. That Nike was very, very astute to choose Kaepernick as their spokesperson, even though he was getting a lot of flack from what I would like to describe not Nike's customers. And if you go into who Nike's customers are, they're young men and young women between the ages of 15 and 39. Okay? And the people that were complaining about Kaepernick were people over the age of 50. So if Nike wanted to be smart, and which they were, wanted to cash in on Kaepernick's personality with that target market, and they obviously did some research, this was smart. And this is what we do each week at Newsmax.com in my column, The Marketing and Branding Lens, where we analyze those kinds of current events and come up with some sort, or look at what's behind the decision that corporations are in fact.
It's a science. It truly is a
It certainly
science.
is.
Yeah.
We like to say that marketing is an art and a science.
Yes, true.
So that's what you really have to be able to, and you can't take it personally, as we like to say. You can't. It's just business.
Right. Well, there is a book that we put together. I don't mean, normally I don't do this type of self-promotion, but there's a wonderful book that my company puts together for when we're marketing a property. It obviously identifies the property, but probably about 8 pages in, we talk about the community. Mm-hmm. And we, all of us were in, myself and quite a few of our agents were in a room one afternoon, and we said, well, why do we live in Putnam County? What makes it unique? And we know that our slogan for Putnam County is where the country begins. So we wanted this book to reflect just that. So we did the top 10 reasons why we reside here, why we've raised our families here, and so much more. And believe it or not, at the end, one of my agents said, I have an idea that we haven't listed. Is there's a Starbucks right here in the Hamlet of Carmel. Nobody that is looking at 20 houses all throughout the county even knows sometimes that there's a Starbucks hidden in one of the plazas. So we added that to the list. And then the last 2 pages of the book speaks to the county as a whole, identifying particular, properties and different parks and things to do and eateries. And it gives everybody the brand of the county and what it's like to live here. We even have an article that is that states it was a really great news article that said Putnam County is the 7th healthiest county in all of the United States of America.
I did not know
because we
that.
have a lot of outdoor activity. So we brand the county as if you want to be healthy and enjoy the outdoors and have big open spaces where you live and just have fun and be healthy. That's kind of the brand that we put together. Also safe, very safe. Our community, we put a news article that spoke about the statistics on how low their crime rate is. So we created this brand for not only the town, but we're able to do it for all of the county, and it assists in selling homes here.
I just like to pick up on two things. The first item I like to talk about is what a brand is, because we often hear people talk about brand as the new hot construct or hot idea. And a brand is, first of all, more than a name. And for those people who think it's just the name, they're missing the two other components. One is the perception that the name has in the mind of the consumer. So when I mention Angela, I want that name to be associated with something like friendly real estate person who gets my property sold.
Keep going.
That's but that's so that's part of branding. So there's the name part. There is what we call the position, which I said, or what the description part, and then there is the verb part. Well, what I mean by that is, how are you going to promote the Angela Briante Real Estate Realtor brand? Am I going to use cable access? Am I going to use direct mail? Am I going to do whatever, radio advertising? What are the ways that I am going to use the tactics that be to promote the brand? So a brand is noun, the name; adjective, how do you describe your name; and C, verb, how are you going to promote it? Okay? Central to that is the concept of a benefit. What is Angela gonna do for me if I engage her as a real estate person? Very important. Benefits. Think benefits. As we say in advertising, we don't sell the steak, we sell the sizzle. That's what we want to do. So it's nice that Angela is a nice person, but what is Angela going to do? Angela's going to get me the best price, and she's going to sell it quickly. That's your brand position. And how's she going to do it? Well, that's up to her on the best way to get her name out there.
Good. Makes sense. It really does. Now, you yourself
Yes.
have always had the brand that I'm looking at right now.
And this didn't take 1 year to develop. This has taken a lifetime to develop. And this is a true story. And I guess I shouldn't say that. I didn't always wear a bow tie. Okay, and I'm going to tell you a story on how I adopted the bow tie. So I'm at I shouldn't say that. I'm wearing my bow tie, and I go to Bill O'Reilly calls me and says, I'm name dropping. You're invited to this party. There's going to be a lot of attractive people there. These beautiful female models are going to be there. Yada 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 yada. So I said, okay. So
was it a formal attire? Is
no,
that how
it wasn't formal.
Oh,
no,
wow.
it was not a formal attire.
Okay.
It was just, so I donned the bow tie, and I went there. And one of the secrets in branding is you have to be able to look in the mirror and understand if you're a leading man or you're not a leading man, or a leading woman or not. You got to be able to objectively take a look at your personal brand. Now, to my mother, I was wonderful, good looking, and all that wonderful stuff. But if I look in the mirror, I'm an ordinary looking guy, and that explains why I accessorize. But the point is, so I wore the bow tie. Mm-hmm. I go to this party, and these beautiful women okay, that if I were wearing a schlemiel tie or was just dressed average, like an average person, they would not pay any attention to me. Well, all night I got these accolades, and I loved it. So what happens? Fast forward a week later, O'Reilly calls me up again. Tantillo, we got another party. I said, but I'm not really dressed for it. He said, don't worry about it. And I had a client meeting, and I had a regular tie. So I said, okay, I'll come the way I am. And I came with a regular tie. Mm-hmm. So I get to the party, and who do I see but these beautiful same women. I saw the same women who say to me, quote, are you ready for this, yes. Angela? John, where is your bow tie? I said, I was at a meeting. So from that day on, I never wore anything other than a bow tie. Because why? Because I differentiated myself and got people to respond to me, and that's what it's about. And when if I go down Fifth Avenue, and I am post 65, okay, of years of age, I will have young men and women stopping me on the street, telling me how good I look and how cool, or even 15 and 60-year-old, when I go to the airport, high-fiving me to tell me how wonderful I look. So what you have to do is you have to develop your own style that you have to be comfortable with. So I'm not asking people to become John Tantillos, nor am I asking everybody to wear bow ties. But you have to be able to differentiate yourself with something that people are going to respond to and is not going to be perceived as being a phony.
I agree, because that is such a connection with real estate, because there are so many colonial homes. There's so many raised ranches. There's so much noise surrounding all these homes that is somewhat the same. So you would drive into a neighborhood and there might be 4 homes for sale, and if you were to look at online, they're pretty much marketed very similar. But there's unique ways that you make them stand out. Like what we do is we belong to 2 MLSs. We put the photograph of one picture in one MLS. In the other MLS, we'll do, let's say, it's a great pool. So now you have two different types of pictures out there of the homes. And somebody might really want a pool or like the way it looks, and they're clicking on this, but this one might not speak to that same buyer. So branding is essential for the home to be branded properly. It's also essential for the agent to have a good connection with the property, brand themselves, brand the property. Similar to what we did on Tenetta Lake Road. We kind of thought out of the box to go down that road. And I think that's what you're almost like gifted in this, because some people, I shouldn't say some people, many people are used to staying on one lane in the highway that makes sense and say, this is the way things have always been done, and this is the market that I perceive for this home or this product, where you, just like you've said over and over again, it's about the brand, and you need to speak to that customer.
Right, but but what I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
What I caution against is being promotional for the sense of being promotional. It's got to be sincere. I have a line: "To thy own brand be true." You have to. This took a number of years. I remember first wearing a bow tie. Then I wore striped bow ties, and then I came to the polka dot. And then I would only wear a white shirt or a non-patent shirt, and then I took it to the next step. I wore stripes, and my brand now is Stripes and polka dots. And my women friends would say, "You can't do that," and I say, "You want to bet?" And that's what you do. All right. And so what it does is it took a number of years for you to develop your own sense of style, not fashion, style.
Sure.
Style is something that can evolve, where fashion is out and is in one year and out another. Style is something that's consistent over time, that where we make slight adjustments responding to one's age and things of that nature.
Neat. Okay, in 2 minutes or less, tell me a little bit about this book. What's in the book? How long it took you to write it? And
it took about 6 months to write the book.
Okay.
And what's in the book are some experiences on how I evolved and my personal brand, so that it could help. And this is not about me, it's about helping others to develop a personal brand, okay? And not be what I would call intimidated by, in fact, showing or letting people know what it is you like or what it is you don't like about your personality traits. And that takes time. And this book helps you to get through those periods that are going to prevent you for you to go brand yourself. And that's my idea. Go brand yourself.
it's true. And I think when I think of branding, I think of extracting the very best attributes of what you're promoting, whether it be yourself, a property, a company, and making that be known by kind of packaging it up. That's how I would describe
But remember
branding.
to think outside of yourself and think in terms of a benefit. A benefit is, what can this property do for me? A feature would be to have a swimming pool. That on the property.
Right.
That's a feature. Okay. How many square feet is a feature?
Right. To really
a
pull it
benefit is, what are you going to do with that swimming pool?
Right.
It's going to allow you parties.
Right.
The square footage, you can entertain more.
Right.
So what you want to do in marketing is always emphasize benefits.
Yes, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more, Dr. Tantillo. I can't thank you enough for being here today. You are absolutely brilliant. If you want to speak to our audience in just a minute, probably less than a minute at this point, on how they could reach you or contact you.
It's which
This camera.
Oh, that camera there. Okay, it's very easy. It's johntantillo.com. That's my website. And doc@johntantillo.com. See, that's branding. And you can follow me on Twitter @marketingdoctor.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. 'Cause we've done this before, so you come on